Hey everyone, Jenny here. So, thanks for joining me. If you're here, say hello in the comments. So I want to talk to you today about what's happened for you this year. I want to help you leave this year with a really positive energy and leave it behind you. Help you to do that and also move into 2018 with the kind of intention and energy that you want. So I want to take you through that today. So if you've got some time, sit back and spend some time with me. This is a longer broadcast. I'm also going to do a reading for all of you. I'm connected with all of you energetically in the circle. I'm going to do a reading for you around the energy that's coming through for next year. Wouldn't you know it, someone starts grass cutting behind me. Anyway, what can you do? So stay with me because that's what I would like to do today. I'm going to take you through that, and I'm going to ask you to reflect on what's happened for you this year, because I know for most of us this year has been quite up and down, and lots of people have had lots of different changes, and I would like you to be able to leave that energy this year in a way that leaves this year where it was, so that we don't take the past into the future, especially the things that might have been challenging. So I want you to start thinking about what it is that you experienced this year. I'm just going to put my little chat box on so I can, no, that doesn't let me see you. How can I see your comments? If you're here, say hello so I can see whether I can see your comments. Anyway, well, let me have a look. I'm just going to check this. Blah, no. Okay, no. All right. So, I hope I can see your comments. Make a comment and I hope I can see them. So, if you had a challenging year this year, if you had some difficult things occurring, whether it be, you know, family, health, career, relationships, whatever it is, I want you to take a moment to reflect on what happened for you, because I want you to remember that we create everything. We create our reality, and if we take responsibility for that, we can also see that something we've created is actually something that has actually provided benefit for us in some way. And so this is the time of year to be able to reflect and look back in a little bit of hindsight and be able to have some insight into why did you create that? Why did you bring that to yourself into experience? Because I believe that we do create everything, even things that we perceive as difficult, and a lot of things can be. I know that myself. But usually it's a way of our soul giving us a course correction. It's a way for us to see that in some way there's something for us to experience and therefore learn from, grow from, to have insight about. And it's now that I want you to take that time to have a look at that. So for example, myself last year, I was quite sick toward the end of the year, quite as sick as I've have been for a really long time. And so at the beginning of the year I had a course correction, and that course correction looked like not seeing too many one-to-one people, one-to-one clients, because I couldn't talk. Funny that, right? And what it meant was I had to spend more time going inside, less talking, and more listening to myself. And so what I want you to do is to take a moment right now to think about something that has occurred for you, and just say yes. Put in the chat box yes if you've had something challenging happen. So whether it be yourself or someone else around you, but it has had an impact on you that has stopped you in your tracks, has made you perhaps look within. It's perhaps, you know, put things on hold for you. It's made you make different decisions. If you've had that happen, just say yes. Just say yes, that's happened for me. Because now's the time to take a moment now, right now, and look back through the eyes of understanding what that helped you do. For example, something challenging can often bring us closer to somebody. So was it a relationship that benefited? Was it that you had to stop and take stock of where you are and where you were going? Was it that you had to do more self-care? Had that been lacking? What was the result of the thing that you went through? Take a moment and think about that, because what you want to be able to do is leave 2017 exactly where it's been, without regret, without any difficulties, and not taking that with you into 2018. You know, we don't want to have the past be our future. And so this is the time of year for you to do that. When you have that insight is when you will be able to leave it where it is. It's when you'll be able to get back to being in gratitude for it, in being able to have the insight of why you created it for yourself. Because it's very hard for us to think at times when something has been difficult or challenging that I created that for what reason. But it's some way vibrationally we do create everything, a lot of it unconsciously, but that doesn't matter. The understanding is that somewhere within us there is something that we are needing to stop and notice, to change direction around, to pause. It forces us to take stock. So take a moment and really notice that, and if you like, share what it is that the insight that you had. So for example, the insight that I had at the beginning of this year was that I needed to spend more time on myself. I needed to take more self-care, and I needed to work with more people, not less people. What it did was it stopped me from spending a lot of time working one-to-one with people, and it forced me to spend more time working behind the scenes and more time working in groups, because I couldn't talk for very long. So I had to limit the amount of talking, which meant that I couldn't talk to a lot of people individually. And the reason for that was because, and I understood later, my guides told me, you were going in the wrong direction. The thing that you were planning to do is not what we wanted you to do. We wanted you to talk to more people, not less people. And so, and that's the theme that throughout this year I have followed, which is to really notice, what am I doing? How much time am I spending with myself? How much time, how much care am I taking of myself, and keeping the balance between what's going out and what's coming in. So that's the first thing. So when you can do that, and when you can find the place, it's about changing your perception. When you can shift your perception around something that has occurred that you might still be dealing with, when you can find, we call it the silver lining, but when you can find the reason that has been presented to you in the way that it's made you stronger in some way, whether it's made you stronger in understanding yourself more, or whether it's made a relationship stronger, whether it's made your you change direction and therefore be more aligned with your soul purpose, then even though that's challenging, and sometimes, and I totally know it's hard, it's exactly spot on for where you need to be, and where you need to be going. And when you get that insight, you'll be able to go, got it, and leave it where it is. So the next thing I want you to do is think about next year. So what is it that you want for next year? And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. So, because this is where you take the time to formulate your intentions and to put the energy forward. Your thoughts and feelings, your emotions are creating your life. Creating this creative energy is manifesting your life. So what is it that you want? Have a think about it. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And they're two really important questions that will help you begin to formulate what you want it to look like. So the first one is, ideally, what do you want to have happen? And the important word is ideally. Not just what do you want to have happen, because then you can often limit what you think is possible. So really important, just sit for a moment and ask yourself this question. Ideally, what do I want to have happen? And begin in your mind to form a bit of a movie so you can insert yourself, for example, around your health issues, around your relationships. You can begin to see, yourself vibrantly healthy if that's an important issue. You can add all of these things into your movie. So just close your eyes even while I'm talking, and imagine yourself, the kind of health things that you would be doing. Is it that you need to walk more? Is it you need to meditate more? Mine is to do more qigong. Is it that you're eating better? Just notice what you're doing. How are your relationships? Who are you interacting with? Ideally, how do you want that to be? With family, with friends, colleagues, in business relationships? Imagine that playing out. Imagine the kind of business you would have if you have a business, or in your career. What does that look like? What do you see yourself doing? Do you see yourself working with people? Do you see yourself, what kind of role are you in? Just get a feeling for how good that feels and what you see yourself doing, what you imagine. Now, I'm just going to do this really quickly, but it's getting you into the frame. It's getting you into the process of doing this. because usually we don't take the time to just imagine. So using your creative energy here, you can tune into how, what do you want to have happen around money? What sort of income would you be having? What's your purpose? What do you see yourself doing? Like, what's really important to you that fires you up? But if you could just do that, no matter, regardless of the money, what is it that you'd really be doing? I mean, this is your heart's desire. What do you love to do? Just put that in the picture. See yourself doing it. Might be a number of different things. You're watching your day, you're watching your year begin to unfold. Just imagine yourself doing all these things. What about travel? Were you traveling? What's happening in your family? What's happening with your relationships? What are they doing? How are you involved? Just imagine all of these things. Just get a bit of a movie. Just pretend, right? So just imagine all of these things happening and get the feeling for how in balance, how happy, how excited, how much energy you have around it. Begin to insert and get a feeling for this ideal picture, like this movie. So you're imagining how your year is going to turn out, the kind of things you want. And now I'm going to ask you a second question, and that is, ideally, who do you need to be for this to be, while this is occurring? Who do you need to be for this to happen? Because if something didn't happen this year the way you wanted it to, if something didn't turn out the way, you had some great ideas or intentions and it didn't quite happen, remember, we create everything. And so some resource within yourself may have been missing. Ideally, who do you need to be, or who do you want to be next year? And when I ask that question, what I'm asking you is, for example, what resource do you need? So if you were being, for example, confident, or is it trusting? What word comes to you that, use your intuition here. Allow your intuition to talk to you. What, ideally, who do you need to be? Who do you want to be? It could be, loving. It could be a couple of words. It could be, I want to be confident and trusting as a person. Or I want to be free and responsible comes to me. I want to be loving and free. I want to be playful. I want to be strong. Ideally, who do you want to be next year? Because this is really what it comes down to, creating from the inside out. So if you take a moment, it'll come to you really quickly. Who do you want to be ideally next year? Who's the person that's going to show up that has the resources to create the things that you want? Because just imagining the things isn't enough. You've got to put your energy into it as well. So give yourself and take the time to do that. That's the first thing. So 1, you leave 2017 behind. 2, you begin to work into the ideal of what it is you would like to have happen. And ideally, who do you need to be, or who do you want to be in that scenario? How do you see yourself? Because sometimes the fear of creating, of having the thing we want, or, being scared about, actually having the thing we said we want, or moving forward in a different direction, sometimes that's what actually gets in the way. That's the sabotage that gets in the way of creating the thing that we really want, especially around money, around career, around moving forward, especially when you're having a change in direction. That's a really big one. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful. The next thing I'm going to do, so this is like a process we're doing today. I can't see the chat box, which is really annoying. So I can see that you're here. I can see Tanya. I can see Nita. I could see Arana. But I can't see if you're actually commenting, which is really annoying. Let me just see if I can, if there's anything else I can do here to change that. Oops. Where am I? Whoa, here I am. All I can see is my own comments, which isn't really helpful. Anyway, I guess I'm just going to have to work without it. That's what you do, fly by the seat of your pants. All right, so hopefully that's helpful to you, to just take the time to begin to create the energy into 2018 now, right? Because asking yourself these questions takes you into the what do you want, not what you don't have, all right? Because there are some things that did happen this year or that you created this year that were maybe not what you wanted, all right? Or maybe you set some intentions and it didn't quite manifest, didn't quite turn out the way that you thought. Some things didn't show up, and if that's the case, it's really important now to begin to get some insight and start to put the energy, forward in time, because your energy goes everywhere. If there is no such thing as time, really 2018 is already here, all right? It's already right with you. You're creating it right now, so take the time to do it. Okay, the next thing I'm going to ask you is, this is a really important one, and then we're going to get to the reading for next year. This is a question for you, your intuition, your higher self, or you can ask your guides. I want you to ask them. All right, so I'm going to take a moment. You can close your eyes. This is a really important question. It's a really easy one, and it's going to be the first thing that comes to your mind. And this is a really important thing for you personally next year. The question I want to ask you is, what's the one guiding word that's really important for you that governs everything in 2018 for you? One word. And it doesn't have to be like something you expect, like balance or harmony or, freedom. Your intuition is going to give you a word that applies specifically to you. Don't judge it. What's the first word that comes into your head? What's the first word that comes into your head? And I can't see your comments, but if you get it, put it in the comments. I want to have a look and see it later. What's the first word in relation to 2018? What's my guiding word for 2018? When I did this morning, the word I got was living. And you will know what that means for you. All right, so the word I got was living, and I went, okay, right, so what does that mean? My guiding word is living. And what I understood when I sat with that word for a minute was my guides were telling me is, you need to be more outside than inside. You need to be living and doing more. In other words, because I can have a tendency to sit at home and sort of lock myself away and be on my own, working and really enjoying it, but not really out there, not really kind of like living in some ways. Don't travel a lot particularly, and I'm really getting the message is, for me, what living means, the way I perceive that is, living means doing more things outside myself, or going out of here more. All right, so that's my guiding word for 2018. What is your guiding word, and what does it mean to you? Just put the word in the comments. I want to see it later. So sorry I can't see it right now. I'm on my iPad. I don't know why it doesn't let me see it, but it's really annoying. Anyway, I was going to do this broadcast on my computer this morning, but the camera wouldn't work. So I'm back on my iPad. So put your word in. What's the one word that your guidance is telling you is for 2018? And then just ask them, what does that mean for me? You will know what it means. And this is really important, because this is your heart talking to you, it's your soul talking to you, it's your guidance coming through, giving you insight into something that's personal to you. It's a really important thing for you to get a hold of, because what you can do with that is, whenever you are formulating if you've got lots of ideas for things you might want to be doing next year or things you want to have happen, ask yourself, if I take this choice, is it going to, for example, is it going to help me be living my life more? So I would insert the word living. Is it going to bring me more balance? Is it going to bring me more living? All right, so that's what I'll be doing next year. I thought it was going to be balance, but the word is actually living. All right, so what's your word? Just put it in the comments. Love to see it. Okay, so that's what I want to do, is help you. So you've got leave the past behind, leave this year behind, move into the energy of 2018 already. Start to put yourself there. Start to get the feeling of it, and ask yourself, what's the guiding word? Right? What's the thing what's the star? What's the one thing that I could keep referring to that will help me. And write that word down. Write it in your diary. Write the question that says, you know, if I do this or if I make this choice, will it help me have more balance in my life? Will it help me have more living in my life? Will it help me? And if you get a really weird word, like this morning, I was kind of getting the idea that someone's going to get the word red. I don't know why. I never read yet. I don't know what that means, right? But maybe it's whatever red means to you. Is it like that means that, you know, it has more energy, or is it has more passion, or it has more, you know, more fired up, more energy? Like, what does that mean to you? Because you've got to insert your understanding, because the reason you get that word is because you understand what that means, whereas someone else on the outside doesn't. So that's a really, really helpful way to begin to help you make the choices for next year, especially if you've got a lot of them, and where to start. So mine will be, will this help me have more living energy? Will it help me be more living next year? All right, rather than isolate me or keep me working on my own. All right, so that's a bit of a challenge for me, because that's one of the things I tend to work on my own, and I tend to work from one place. That's going to be interesting. All right, so it's sort of a challenge in itself. And the other thing that I know is that because you're actually starting to think about next year already, one of the things that I'm really aware of that I do, and I know most of us do, is we start to think about next year, and you're about to go on holidays, you're about to have time off, you're about to have that Christmas break, maybe into January. And if you, what I want to say is, don't spend that whole time thinking about this and worrying about it. What often happens is you take that break, and then you get back and it's mid-January already. Yeah, there goes the cockatoos. It's mid-January already, and you haven't really made any decisions, and then it's like February before you even get started again. I want to say to you, don't wait that long. I want to say to you, if you know, and you're at this point, and I know this because I just spoke with someone recently, it's like, you know, you want to have some new things happen next year, but maybe you don't know how that's going to happen. Maybe you are ready to work with someone, and that could be me. Next year, I've got 3 spots to start in January. I filled 1 already. If you want to do some work with me, and then you can forget about it, right? You're going to start with me in January. If you want to have a talk with me about that, just contact me. Just PM me if you want to have a chat about. If you want to change direction, if you want to get something done that didn't happen this year, or for whatever reason, is it sabotage, is it whatever it is, I'm going to have a chat. Happy to have a chat, and let's, if that works out, you could be getting started in January, and then you can forget about the whole thing because you know it's already set up. I just want to say that because I know that it's really important to me, because I'm doing the same thing, which is I'm getting myself already ready and set up for when I come back. I already know what I'm going to be doing. Anyway, so on to the reading. So the reading for next year. So I've got some cards here, and what they're called is, I got these the other day actually. I don't know if, I think I've got the screen around the right way for you to read them. It's called Denise Lynn Sacred Traveler Oracle cards. So thank you, Denise, for these cards. So I'm tuning in with everyone who's here, everyone who's in On Your Heart's Calling, everyone who's in my on my list, my friends, my colleagues, my clients, all of you. So I'm just connecting the energy so that whatever comes up is actually for you. It's applicable specifically to you. I'm getting that's 2 cards we're pulling today. Okay, so the first card, I'm just going to ask them what the first card is about. All right, so the first card is the overall guiding energy, and that's this one. And the second one is the specifics. It's almost like I'm reading my energy here. All right. So the first card for next year. Let's just see what this is actually really about. Now, you're going to have to interpret this in your own way. And what does this mean to you? Why would this card be coming up for you in particular? Okay, so the card that's coming up, I should have turned my screen around so it's around the right way, is solitude, which is totally the opposite, right? This is actually, it's in the bottom here says, in silence, peace prevails. What does that mean to you? Why is solitude coming up? So for me, solitude's coming up because I've already spent too much time in solitude. All right, so even though a card may have a certain intent from the author, you need to understand what it means for you. For me, it means it's time it's time to have less solitude. All right. However, I also understand that I need to do, and you may be the same, I need to take time to be silent. And that's what this card is about. In silence, peace prevails. So if you have had a really busy life this year, if you haven't had very much time to yourself, if you haven't had much silence, if you haven't had enough time to really gather where you're at and what you need, because maybe you've been taking care of other people, maybe there's been a lot going on, maybe there's been a lot of changes or moving, you need to be able to tune into yourself. So you need to keep the balance between busy and quiet, and that is absolutely spot on for me. All right, one of the things my energy can get really hyped up, and I can go, and I don't feel the need to have solitude, but I actually do need it. I need a lot of calm and I need a lot of quiet between the times that I'm really busy and doing stuff, and often neglect it. So that's a pretty powerful message to me. So what this is saying is to take time now. This is kind of just reinforces what I've said before. Take the time to be silent. If you've got some projects in mind, if you've got some things you want to do, take some time to be quiet so that you can find the peace and that you can hear your inner guidance. Don't rush into something. Take some time before you make the decisions so that you know whatever you do is in integrity, that whatever you do is actually feels right, looks right, sounds right, that you can actually feel where it sits for you, and that you know that whatever decision you make at that time is right. Regardless of whatever happens later, you know that that's the right thing. So if you've got a lot of things on your list for 2018, that's one way to bring and find out where to start, is come into the place of silence where you will find serenity and peace, and then bring the idea of each one of those choices or options to that place and find which one sits. Because in that silence is where you will find the subtlety of your intuition. You'll find the subtlety and the way of knowing where something sits within you, how it feels, what it looks like, what it feels like. And you will find, you can bring them one thing at a time, you will know where each one is. And the one that has the greatest alignment is the one you need to be doing first. So don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry to do things. Just take your time. It brings you back to your spiritual center. So for this year, next year, 2018, take time in your day. You need to schedule and make sure that you are taking solitude. You need to take some breaths, and you need to know that, for example, use the words, all is well. Allow yourself to find your vitality, because when you come to calm is when you actually make good decisions, because you're connected to your higher self. It's much easier to hear what's going on. So what if you did that? Is that accurate for you? What if the guiding thing that you need to know for next year, that's all, the main thing you need to know is have silence before you make decisions. If you're in a hurry, you're not really listening to your guidance as much as, or your guides as much as you need to be. All right. I wonder if that is appropriate for you. I wonder if that makes sense to you, because this year hasn't been so much like that. What if everything that you want next year will manifest because you take the time to be quiet, you take the time to spend some solitude before you make a decision, to formulate whatever direction you want to go in. Take some time to tune in. Who do I need to be with? Where do I need to spend my time? What is the best thing for me to be doing? And let your heart and your soul speak, because really they are subtle messages. So I hope that's helpful. That's a really interesting one. Let me just see what else they say in here that might be important for you to understand. I'm looking at the book here. I don't know, because I tune into what I feel about it. I'd be interested in whether that seems appropriate for you. Yeah, okay, so there's an interesting point in here. Sometimes if you're in too much hurry, because you're sort of going from one thing to the next, is you don't have the time in between to find your stillness again, which is to really find your spirit, right? To be in touch with your spirit. And certainly, you know, when we get excited about things, or if we're trying to, you know, do too many things at once, that's what can happen. So, write down the. It's about solitude and about finding your silence and finding the peace. All right. So that's the general. That's the general overtone for 2018. Now, the second one that they told me, this card. This is sort of interesting if you've been listening to what I just said. The second card, the detail of that is faraway places. I wish my screen was round the right way. Get ready for new horizons, this says. So that's the detail. So the big picture is the silence and the quiet, making sure you're in touch with yourself. The detail, the specific thing that's going to happen this year is faraway places. I wonder what that means for you. Straight away for me, I already know this year that I'm going to travel to different places. I'm not sure quite how that's going to happen, but I know that it's going to be different places. Now, for you that might mean that you actually do travel to faraway places, that you actually do spend more time traveling this year. It might also mean that it's about new horizons, right? It can mean change. It can mean that specifically something, that there's a specific different thing that is about to occur, whether it's a new career, whether it's a new relationship, whether it's changes in your family or you're moving house or something like that. There's a new horizon that's going to give you a new perspective. All right. In other words, you're traveling. It could be not necessarily in a physical sense. You might also be breaking new horizons when it comes to your intuition or your spiritual side. So it can be. This can mean specifically on a lot of different levels. New horizons can mean that your business changes and it goes to a different level. That actually you begin to work with different people, that you begin to see where it is you're going. Right? Horizon is about looking into the distance. It's about looking in the direction that you want to be going. And a new horizon is always looking to the future. Like, what is it that you want? And this relates to what I was talking about earlier, imagining what you want. So this is saying if you can take the time to begin to visualize and get a sense of feeling of what it is that's on the horizon for you, that horizon will manifest. That's pretty straightforward. So I wonder what would be on the horizon for you if you could have what you wanted. Maybe that's what you need to take the time to think about as well. So let me just have a look. So far away places. Let's see what this person is saying about it, and whether there's something else you need to know. So yes, this is all about change, and not to be worried about it, right? You're quite safe to have a change, and I think for all of us, when you're looking for change, when you get to a certain point and you know something's got to change, it can be quite scary. And I know that because, you know, that's the work that I do all the time. So this is quite an interesting card. That, you know, when you're taking a journey, a life journey, that's different than what you have experienced, that you know you are here and you want to go somewhere, you want to change direction, get to a certain point in life, and you just know something's got to change, whether it's your career, whether it's changing a relationship, whether it's, you know, there's something you know that you want to be doing, that it can be quite scary, and it can feel like it's like going into a dark tunnel. It's like, maybe I know where I want to go, but I just don't know how to get there. I don't know. It's scary. I don't know what's in there. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I can handle it on my own. And what a lot of us do is back off from it and don't take that road. We don't go into the tunnel because it's all the unknown. So it's a really important message here to say that you need to take that step. You need to move forward. You need to let go of the fear, and because, you know, your destiny, your heart is calling you to make a change. Right? There's something that there's a new horizon, and that can feel scary. Right? So if that's kind of, you know, there's something brewing and there's something you've got to do to make a change, then it's saying this is going to happen. Like, the specific thing that you're thinking about is going to happen. Whether there's a new horizon, there's something coming. The thing that this card is about is saying that you're always safe and protected. When your heart is calling you to make a change, it's because it's necessary. It's part of your life purpose. It's part of the reason that you're here. You have a mission here. You have a certain beingness that you're meant to be here. And that relates to the things that you do. And if you're not doing them, it's going to keep calling you. It's going to keep pushing you, and you're going to keep feeling that you're not on the right path if you don't take, say, okay, I'm going to go there even if it's scary. I'm going to start that project even though I don't know how that's going to turn out, or what people are going to think of me, or how I'm going to make any money from it, or going into a relationship, I don't know how that's going to work out. What most of us do is we bring our past into the future, and we go, well, because I haven't had that happen before, I can't see how it's going to happen now. Or because I haven't been able to support myself before, I don't believe I'm going to be able to support myself in the future. Or because I haven't, you get what I'm saying, right? That's why it's so important to let go of 2017. Don't make the past your future. It's time to let yourself move where you need to go. All of us are getting a bit older. I know, I'm getting to that age where I start to think about, wow, how many more years am I going to be here, and what do I want to be doing in those years? That's one of the questions I ask myself, because it's sort of like, I know I have a mission, I know what I want to do, and you need to allow yourself to do it. So, everything is an adventure. One of the ways that you can look at this, if something difficult or tricky or challenging is occurring, that it is an adventure. It's asking you to make a change. And if you can look forward to it as an adventure, as like, okay, I'm just going to journey into this place. I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm just going to travel that as much as I can, and allow that it's fun. It can be an adventure. The unknown can be, it can be daunting. But it's a little bit like a pilgrimage in some ways, isn't it? You've got to travel this road that you don't really know where it's going. And what you've got to do is trust that your heart is guiding you. Get into the silence, get in touch with your heart, with your alignment, and trust that it is taking you in the right direction. Your soul knows the truth. Your soul is eternal. Your energy, this is eternal. It knows where you've been. It knows who you are exactly. You know who you are exactly. And you also do know when something is not in alignment. If you've been doing a job, if you're in a relationship or something that's not working, you've made some choices, you're keeping on doing something you shouldn't be doing anymore, it's time to pack your bags. All right, it's time. It doesn't mean you have to leave, but it's time to make a change. It's time to take that journey in a different direction. And just be ready for anything. If you approach it as an adventure, it has a different feeling. It's all about how you want to perceive it. It can be scary or it can be exciting, right? So the joy of travel, whether it be, to a faraway place in a physical way, or whether it be a new journey in life, is that you're seeing something for the first time. That's exciting, right? So we all have the familiar, we all know where we've been, but don't let where you've been that didn't work rule next year. Don't let that be the thing. Don't let anything like that stop you. Don't let yourself recreate something you don't want. And appreciate everything you have. So, the first one is take the time, get some silence. What does that mean? Does that mean meditation for you? Does it mean scheduling in time for yourself? Does it mean finding the silence sometime every day? The detail of next year is faraway places. Getting ready for new horizons. Change is afoot, change is coming. I think this year has been about working out what direction you're going to go in. It's been about making the changes, and now you're ready to actually step into them. That's my sense of what's happened for me. It's my sense of what I see around me. And a lot of you are ready. You've been preparing. This year has been about preparing, working through sabotages, working through changes that you've had to make in order to set yourself up for a change that you're now ready to move into, something that you're ready to really own. All right, you're really ready to step into your sense of knowing who you are. that's really cool, right? That's why I think this year has been a bit sort of kind of unstable for many of us. Had to make some choices and things that, you know, have been eye-opening, you know. I wonder if that's the same for you. So, which brings me to, whoops, my things are all flying away here. So that's really interesting. And I'd love to hear your feedback on that. And that's cool. And it's cool to have you here. And I want to thank you for this year being part of my life and joining this group. One of the things that I can look back on this year and say that I'm really happy that I created was a space for us to come together and honour your heart's calling. I want to thank you for being here and spending time with me, you know, putting your energy in, watching what I do, and being together. And I look forward to more next year. I've got lots of things on the boil. The first thing I want to do is make space for some individual people in January. So that's me just talking about what I'm doing. I've got a whole bunch of other things that I'm really excited about. I just don't know where to start yet. I got to sit with it and really figure out which one do I start with. But I do know the one thing I'm starting with in January. If you are ready, if you know there's a change afoot and you want get through that tunnel and you want to have me come with you, help, you know, ask your guides where it is what sort of outcomes you want for next year, and work with me, I'll work with you to get some guidance and some practical help to actually get through the next 90 days. So by the end of March, you've already had the outcomes that you want. And I know that happens because I've been doing that this year with lots of amazing women, and the outcomes have been fantastic. Everything that everybody sets as an outcome comes to fruition, even stuff they thought never would happen. So, you know, recently a beautiful lady who hasn't been in a relationship for a long time, her guides told her that at the end of the Shine program, which is what I'm talking about as my coaching program, that she would have had 2 dates with someone. She hasn't been on a date for like, don't even know how long, right? I thought, how is that going to happen? It did. Other beautiful lady I was working with whose house had been on the market for 12 months, finally sold. Other amazing, really amazing stuff. I can't even tell you, but just want to reassure you that you can get what you want, and maybe you're ready to start in January. If you are, it's the time now to get in touch with me. I've got some spots. What we do is just have a bit of a chat first, and you can tell me where you're up to, what you want. And I've got 3 spots left to start January. If you miss out January, you could start February. So I'm going to take on a few more people, and then I'm going to close it, because I just want to work with a few people at a time. I've got too many other things to get started. But January is a great time because I'm not as busy, you're not as busy, and we can actually get started, and you can have stuff already going, already happening by February, instead of like most people who are just getting started in February. All right, so if that's you, just send me a PM, just, you know, get in touch with me or email me, and we can set up to have just a quick chat, work out what's happening, and see whether that's a goer, whether it's, you know, a good fit. All right, so amazing. Thanks for tuning in. I'd love to hear your feedback, and so sorry I couldn't see the comments. Next time I have to get my other computer working. All right, thank you, ladies, and I'll be back very soon because I'm already fired up. I just had my holiday in New Zealand, so like my energy is like whew, ready to go. I'm firing already, so I'm not winding down. I'm actually already wound up. You can probably tell I got lots of energy, so that's why I want to get started. If you're ready to start, get in touch with me. All right, thanks so much. Bye for now.